So I was just driving thinking about this new OpenAI ChatGPT, and I was thinking about how it's going to replace so many industries. You can get this thing to get you to write Python scripts. You can get this thing to write entire song lyrics for you. You can get this thing to do deep calculations for you. There's really no limit, and every time I've ever tried to enter anything into this chat box, the AI blows my mind. And so I want to use it in this video to test different astrology questions. We're going to really put this thing to the limit to see if my job as an astrologer is now officially obsolete. So let's get right into it. All right, so I'm here in my studio and I have my MacBook. We are going to open up ChatGPT and we're going to ask it some astrology related questions to try and stump it. So in this case, I'm going to actually ask these questions from easy to more challenging. And trust me guys, these questions get very challenging. I'm gonna have all 10 on the screen except for the 10th one. You will see that at the end of the video. If you wanna skip to the chapter where these questions are asked, you can do that in the little timeline below. But without too much further ado, let's see if we can get some genuine answers and see if my job is at stake here. So the first question we are going to ask ChatGPT, I'm gonna have difficulty saying that, is what are the houses of astrology, and can you explain into further detail about the 12th house? So let's see how it describes the houses. This is a fairly easy question that a lot of people genuinely have difficulty understanding. So let's see if we can get a good answer. All right, so it says in astrology, the houses are a way of dividing the sky into 12 sections. So that's very true. The 12 houses are the first house, known as the ascendant or rising sign. And it says the personality, the appearance. So it looks like it's going ahead and giving me a description of what each of the houses are, rather than exactly telling me what houses in astrology, like how they manifest. And I've actually asked this question before, and it's given me a totally different answer, so this is a unique answer I'm getting. Let's see if it goes into detail asking about the 12th house here. Yes, so it says the 12th house is a deeply introspective and spiritual house. It is associated with the unconscious mind and the things we keep hidden, even from ourselves. It is a place of mystery and can be a source of both inspiration and pain. 12th house also is associated with self-sacrifice and the willingness to give oneself to a greater cause. So I'm not going to read the rest, you guys can see this on screen, but how incredible that it is able to go into detail. Let's actually say, can you expand upon the 11th house? And so just following this up, it goes right into detail about the 11th house in ways that even an astrologer might struggle to really give you this description in a reading or in general online. So it definitely passed the first section of this. Let's go ahead and get our next question and see how well it does. So we are ramping up in intensity with these questions. All right, so the next question we're going to ask is, what are the major types of house systems in astrology? And what are the differences in the house systems of astrology? So for those of you who don't know, the houses are one thing, but the house system is another thing. A lot of people will use Placidus or Porphyry or whole signs or equal signs. There's all kinds of different ways to align the little pie segments of your chart. So let's see if it is going to give us a good answer, maybe even giving us some of those different houses I just named. All right, so it's thinking. Okay, so it says there's several different types of house systems in astrology, and they're all methods for dividing the sky into the 12 houses. Wow, so it's already listing Placidus and describing Placidus for us. This is information as an astrologer you'd have to spend a lot of time searching through articles beforehand. It talks about the Koch houses as well, the house similar to Placidus, and it's going into great detail as well. And if you want more detail, you can actually ask it to expand upon this as well. So it's so far given us 4 different types of house systems, and this is different than the houses. So let's go ahead and speed this up and see where it comes to and how many houses it calculates. Oh, it stops here actually. So it gave us 5 different houses, and then it's going on to the differences of those houses. The true power of this AI is really underestimated in how powerful it is. This is stuff you'd have to, in the past, in the 70s, look into encyclopedias to find the knowledge to just even begin to put this picture together. And now in one sentence, I've been able to get a full description of all the different house systems. And if I want to, I can ask it to expand upon that. So far, it has absolutely blown these questions out of the water, as we should expect. The next question I'm going to ask is, what does it mean when I have Mercury retrograde in Leo in my natal chart? And what does it also mean when it's conjunct Venus in Leo? So for those of you who are out there who are new to astrology, and you don't understand, let's say, a placement in your chart, especially Mercury retrograde, and you don't understand conjunctions or aspects, just type the sentence into GPT, and it'll perhaps even give us an answer. So let's see if it is able to give us this answer. So when Mercury is retrograde in Leo in your natal chart, it means that it is time, at the time of your birth, the planet appeared to be moving backwards. So that's just a basic description of Mercury retrograde. It even gives you excess information about how often it happens in a year, which is useful. And then it goes into giving the description for Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo. Now it's saying when it's conjunct Venus in your natal chart, it means that these two planets were closely together. So that's a conjunction. And then it indicates some of the sort of feelings and sensations that you may have as a result of this. And it spares no detail here. It goes into great detail just in a simple description. And if you wanted more detail, you could always ask it another question. This would have been something you would have had to have gotten an astrology book for, and to search up conjunctions, then to search up Mercury retrograde, and then to search up Venus and how they conjunct together. But now you could just ask it in a simple question, and this technology is really, to some degree, replacing astrologers as well as so many people's other careers. So it has not failed in any slight way to answer these questions. In fact, I would say it's far exceeded our expectations. Let's try the next question. And this is one I'm actually genuinely curious to see what answer it gives, which is, what is the age of Aquarius and when is it expected to start and end? So for those of you who don't know, you'll learn in a second, but the ages of Aquarius, or the ages of astrology, happen every 2,150 years. And they go for long periods of time, and we're entering the age of Aquarius. So let's see if it's able to wrap its mind around this question and actually give us a precise time, because not a lot of astrologers actually can give you a precise time. The age of Aquarius is a term that is often used in astrology to refer to a period of time that is associated with the astrological sign of Aquarius. It's based off of the idea of the different astrological ages. And it says, according to this belief, the Earth is currently moving from the age of Pisces, which is associated with the sign of Pisces, into the age of Aquarius, which is associated with the sign of Aquarius. The exact timing of the start and end of Aquarius is a matter of debate among astrologers. So it did get that part correct, and it didn't actually assert any kind of answer, which is nice. Some believe that the age of Aquarius began in the 20th century, while others believe that it has not yet started. There's no scientific basis for the conception or the concept of the astrological ages, except for, of course, the precession of the equinox. That would be the only scientific model for mapping out the ages of astrology. That would be it. And it actually didn't mention anything about the precession of the equinox in here, I don't believe. But it does talk about the new age, and it says some people believe the age of Aquarius will bring out positive changes and a more enlightened way of living, while others see it as a time of instability and uncertainty. And certainly that is what's happening on both sides of the spectrum. We're both enlightened by AI like this. This is a good question for an AI. In the age of technology, we are getting artificial intelligence, which is giving us an ability to look deeper into databases and deeper into these questions that we might have answers that we might not be able to find easily. AI like this really gives us, to me, it's the description that it's like Google if Google was your mentor. And that's the way that this is really feeling, is that it's giving me a lot of answers without me having to necessarily go deep dive for them. So let's move up in intensity of questions, and let's see what this one, if it can answer number 5. My partner has Mars and Venus conjunct in Libra. And in relationship to my natal chart, it's located in my 9th house. Actually, let me write 9th house conjunct my Jupiter in Libra. So I've asked it a question. I said, hey, my partner's got Mars and Venus on top of each other in Libra. And let's add in their 3rd house. And in relationship to my natal chart, it's located in my 9th house conjunct Jupiter in Libra. So not only do we have conjunctions in the first chart, but we also have conjunctions in my chart relative to that. You can already see how this question is ramping up in intensity. So let's see if it is able to do synastry, because if so, that's extremely powerful, and that's something I'll be using as well. Perhaps we can stunt the program at some point. When your partners Mars and Venus are conjunct in Libra and in their third house, it means these two planets were close in the sign of Libra. Of course, it's a conjunction. It says it may be highly attuned to aesthetics and have a natural talent for relationships and social interactions. In relationship to your chart, if the conjunction is located in your ninth house and conjunct your Jupiter in Libra, it can indicate that your relationship with your partner is marked by a strong connection on a mental and philosophical level. So right there, not only did it understand what I meant when it was referencing my partner's chart, but it also understood what it meant in synastry to my chart and gave a description of that. And it says, overall, this conjunction can indicate that you and your partner have a strong and positive connection that is based on mutual understanding and shared interest. Even though this AI, this artificial intelligence, wasn't built for astrology, it has such a powerful effect that it can read astrology in the same way that an astrologer can, if not sometimes better. For this next question, I will be very, very impressed if it actually can pull this information up, because the question that I have here is, if I'm born on December 26th, 1984 at 12 p.m., a noon chart, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where I'm from, what is my Mars and rising sign placements according to astrology? If this chat box can pull up someone's natal chart based on the inputted time, birth, and location, I'm going to be shocked because it typically requires some software. So I really think this one's going to stump it. But if it doesn't, then this is really maybe perhaps the end of astrologers. So let's see here. So it's telling me that I would need to know the exact time and date provided. And then it says your Mars sign is Scorpio and your rising sign, also called the ascendant, is Leo. That is absolutely absurd that it can pull up my birth information just from me putting it in a sentence. If you don't want to look up astrology software, you can just come to ChatGPT and you can just put in your birth information, and then it goes into detail describing what those placements are. This is, I don't know if you guys understand this, but this is absolutely insane. This is my first time seeing this. But the fact that I can just put my birth time, date, and location is absolutely absurd. So perhaps I might be out of a job after this one, because you guys will have all the knowledge that you need to have just by using ChatGPT. GPT, I'll get that correct. And so, yeah, this has really blown my mind. I really thought that this question was going to be the one that stumped it, but I guess it's not. So let's move on to the next one and see if we can actually get it with this next one. I tried to make this next one even harder than this one. So, well, to be fair, this one's maybe not harder compared to the answer I just got, because the answer I just got just blew my mind away, whereas this next one seems like I guess I could see where they can get it. So the next one is, what is Lebron James' Mars and Saturn sign according to his natal chart and astrology? I mean, after the last one, I know it's going to be able to pull this one up. And it says LeBron James was born on December 30th, 1984. So his Mars sign is Sagittarius and his Saturn sign is Scorpio. And then it goes into detail to describe this. I knew that this one was going to be able to get it because he's a celebrity. So if you really wanted to know anything about celebrities, you can just ask questions about their natal chart and it'll pull it up right here for you. You don't have to look it up. Just pull up the chat box and then ask away. So that's really profound to me to know that you can just skip all the steps and go right to this to get the answers. All right, so that one was not as hard. So let's see if we can ramp it up just a little bit more from here. All right, so I have another synastry question coming up. And with this one, I have Chiron in Leo, and my partner has Chiron in Taurus. What are the strengths and weaknesses that we may face with these two placements? Now, I know I asked a more difficult synastry question a little bit earlier, but this one has to do a lot with asteroids, and asteroids don't always have a lot of super deep meanings. Chiron perhaps might have a little bit more, but I want to see how it goes about describing strengths and weaknesses. I think that it'll do it just fine, but let's see what it says. Chiron is a small outer planet, which that actually is incorrect. It's not a planet at all. It's an asteroid, and you might be able to call it a dwarf planet, but it's really not that big. So it did get this information correct, which says it's an outer planet. So keep that in mind whenever you use this AI chat box. You know, if you're going to write papers or do anything like that, then you want to make sure you're proofreading it and actually doing your due diligence. So it says here that in astrology, Chiron's placement in a birth chart can indicate if they feel a sense of wounding or vulnerability. And then it says with Chiron and Leo, you may feel a sense of insecurity or vulnerability. And it says your partner with Chiron and Taurus may feel a sense of wounding or vulnerability around security, stability, and material abundance. And it says in relationship, the combination of your Chiron placements in Leo and Taurus can bring a sense of balance and completeness. You may also support each other's growth and healing in areas represented by your Chiron placements and help each other feel most secure and grounded. However, it's important to remember that every relationship has its challenges, and it's important to communicate openly and honestly and work together to address any issues that may arise. That right there was a bit of a cop-out because it didn't actually say where the difficulties or vulnerabilities with this are going to lie between us. It gave us individual descriptions, which is fantastic, very powerful, because you as a person can come up with a description and see it, but it also didn't say exactly like certain types of things, like your partner may struggle with money and you may struggle with insecurity. So together, this might cause something, and that might be where astrologers still have some skin in the game here, because when I do a reading like this, a synastry reading between someone's Chirons, I'll say something along the lines of your partner has difficulties with financial abundance and you have difficulties with insecurity. So think about how you can support them in a way that supports them to feel stable and secure, and then inside of that you can find some kind of authenticity of that, and then they have to recognize that you don't have this sort of secure foundation in yourself, and so they need to see that in you too. And there's like all kinds of metaphors and allegories and personal stories that you can kind of weave together to make a better description, whereas ChatGPT is not going to be something that's going to be great for like in-depth advice, where an astrologer really can come in and help to add clarity or context. But this is still the early stages of GPT, and so we may see the therapist version of this come out. Maybe the better help of the future will be artificial intelligence. So let's ask the 9th question here. The 9th question is, it's another celebrity idea, but I wanted to add a little bit more complexity to it. So I said, what is Elon Musk's natal Mars, and what date in his progress chart will it enter into the next sign? Progress chart means that every one day of transits is 1 year of progressions. And so, but let's see if it understands that context whenever I ask this question in this way. I'm not sure if I worded the question the right way, which is good because we're trying to stump this. And then, of course, it should give a description of Mars in Leo. Let's see. So as for the progress chart, it is a tool used in astrology to examine long-term evolution of a person's natal chart. Let's see. Wow, it says the progress Mars moved through the zodiac about 1 degree per year. And it says, so determining the date to enter the next sign, you would need to know the current position of Mars, Elon Musk's progress natal chart, and how many degrees it would be to the next sign. So it almost gave a cop-out. It said, like, here's how to do it, instead of letting me do it for you. And so then it also adds a little disclaimer. It's important to keep in mind that astrology is a complex and nuanced field, and that is definitely for sure, which is why we are testing this artificial intelligence. So it probably would take a long time for Elon Musk Mars sign to move from Leo into Virgo, which ideally would be about 30 years if it's at the beginning of the sign. So yeah, interesting it didn't give the exact date, because that would have been really super fascinating to be like, in 2012 it moved into Virgo. Like, that would have been crazy to see that, because then you get to map someone's life out, but it seems like you still have to do some of this on your own. So this is the very last question, the one that I've hid from you guys till the end of the video. This is the question that I think is on everybody's mind, which is, will OpenAI's chat system replace the necessity for astrologers in the future? Let's see what OpenAI has to say. Hopefully we get a humble answer. It is unlikely that chat systems like the one used by OpenAI will completely replace the role of astrologers in the future. While chat systems and other forms of technology can certainly provide valuable information and assistance, astrology is a complex and nuanced field that requires a deep understanding and interpretation of the movement and patterns of celestial bodies. Astrology has been practiced for thousands of years, and it continues to be a popular and influential field today. And then it just goes into detail, just giving some background on astrology, this is very refreshing, because if you are a skeptic to astrology and you ask ChatGPT about astrology, it would give you answers like astrology is a complex and nuanced system. It wouldn't say astrology is fake because it has no scientific evidence for it. In fact, it can give you all kinds of scientific interpretations for astrology, or maybe not scientific interpretations, but it can give you a lot of interpretations for astrology So a lot of those people out there who say astrology is fake, I ask you to use your artificial intelligence chatbot to go ask questions, be curious, and to look for those answers. So as for now, I don't think that astrology is going to be taken over by the artificial intelligence, but perhaps it will in the future. Perhaps there will be just an astrology bot that you pay it for a reading, or it just does a reading for free and then it spits out everything, which we kind of already have stuff like that. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think artificial intelligence is something scary, something that's going to take over the world, something that's going to crash industries? Is this the fourth industrial revolution? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and let me know what you think of this video. I read all my comments and I appreciate them all. So thank you guys very much.